everyone, welcome to the Jayda and Stitches show. A little while ago we had a small haul for y'all and in it I had picked up a couple of new crochet hooks. One being a Clover Amour, a larger size. This is my reigning favorite ergonomic hook type to use. And a Prym. Some of you said it's pronounced Prym. I thought it was Prym, but all right, Prym. So Prym is now the contender for this little face-off between these two hooks. I'm going to open up both of these hooks, which are both ergonomic, so comfortable comfort grip. I'm going to try them both, and we're going to see how they stand up against each other. So let's head on over to the craft table, unbox these babies, and give them a try. First of all, the packaging. I like the packaging on the Clover. You can see the entire hook. It's sort of in a simple clear plastic package. You can see the whole hook. You can get an idea for the shape of it if you're unfamiliar with how the Clovers look and feel. The only thing is you can't feel it. So you can't actually feel the piece of the grip that you're going to have on your hand, but you can see it. You can see the size. It's neatly embossed in there. I like that when a size is actually cut into the grip of a hook. That way it's unlikely to be rubbed off. And of course this is an 8mm, also known as an L. So let's unhook this. It looks like it's got a staple in it. So I'm just going to pull the staple. And let's see if I can do this. Oh, very good. Yeah, staple's still in there. All right. And, well, that was easy. Okay, right away. This is a plastic neck. It's got a nice, smooth, no seam plastic. There's a little, you can see the seam where the plastic came together, but you can't feel it. So as long as I can't feel a seam on my hooks, I'm happy. This is the comfort grip that I am familiar with. This pink just makes my heart sing. I love this color. And it feels like my other comforts. Let me just grab another one of my big ones. So yes, same smooth surface. It's not quite rubber, but it's not quite 100% plastic. It's got just a little hint of a soft feel to it. So you don't really feel like you're working constantly with a giant piece of plastic. And it's plastic, but it's a soft plastic. Does that make sense? So I do have another one of the larger Clover Amours, and it does feel the same way. It's the same sort of size hook. I like these because I am a knife grip as opposed to a pencil grip, which my mother-in-law is. And the thumb deck is in a really good spot, whether you're a pencil grip or a knife grip like me. I like to roll my hook while I'm crocheting, so the thumb deck where it is gives me a lot more control in that regard. So I really like the feel of it. I like the smoothness of the handle. I cannot feel the seam. I like that I have my sizing embossed in there. And so far, I mean, the color aside, because it's fantastic, this feels just like all my other Amours, and I'm looking forward to using it. But let's unbox the Prym first and compare the two. First, the packaging. This is a beautiful box. I like the sound of the hook sort of rattling around in there. And while you can't see the whole hook like you can with the Clover Amour, you can touch it, which I do like. I like being able to feel the hook and the sort of texture of the grip before I get it. And you can see most of it to see that there's a pretty little detail on the side of it. That actually has a raised texture to it. But other than that, it's a very nice box, and there's something about buying something in a nice box that feels smooth. All of the information is on there. So let's see here. I don't think I have to unstick any staples. I just have to open it like a regular old little box. That's nice. And does he want to fall out? Oh, it just slips right out. Okay, so that's nice. A slightly easier package to get into. Plus I can keep that box and keep it in the box if I want to. Right away, I love this green. I can feel the texture along that. I suppose that's part of the grip. There is no specific thumb deck on this. So whereas there is a flat section for your thumb on an Amour, there is no flat deck on the Prym. Now it does have a much longer neck. I'd say that's a longer business end. So basically where the grip starts, the Prym hook is a lot longer by about, looks like maybe even 1.5 centimeters or 1/2 inch or so. So that might be nice if you struggle with sort of having working space on the neck of your hook. But I have to say, this is going to take some getting used to. There is no thumb deck, so there's nowhere for my thumb to kind of really sit comfortably and control it. Plus, I don't know if that's me, but the grip feels shorter. No, it's the same length. It's just that I'm used to that thumb deck. My thumb wants to wiggle all over the place here. So we will see what that's like in actual execution. The size is embossed here. It just says J though. It doesn't actually say the millimeters, so it just gives you the letter size, which is fine because I speak multiple crochet languages, but I usually prefer to have the metric millimeter, the actual size of the hook on my hooks, because a J, I know that a J is a 6 millimeter, but the actual size, the actual measurement is more important to me than the little indicator letter. So, I mean, at least it's there. That's something, but I'd prefer it if it had both the indicator letter and also the actual sizing. But yeah, I like the feel of this. Maybe that's where I'm supposed to keep my thumb. I'm not sure. We're going to give it a try though. This is quite a long neck. I'm going to be much further away from my crochet than I usually am. So let's give it a try and see how it works. So first, a little pink yarn with my new pink hook. So this is my Clover Amour. I'm just going to work a few chains. I'm just using a size 4 medium weight yarn. The 8 millimeter obviously is built for thicker weight yarn, maybe a couple of strands held together, but you can get the idea of what I'm doing. I just want to do a little bit of quick crochet. So I'm going to work a handful of double crochets. I'm so familiar with this grip that it feels like second nature to pick it up and start using it. So I do really want to start with this one just to kind of give myself a level playing field. This is my baseline. I use the Amours the most. I'm used to this ergonomic handle. You can see that my thumb is on that deck, and I really turn my hook, but I control the turning with my thumb and that thumb deck. And it's funny, you know, I don't even really realize I'm doing it until I actually have to look at and think about what I'm doing. So there's some double crochets in a matching fabulous pink yarn. I love pink. That felt comfortable. It felt normal. I really love that thumb deck for control, and of course nothing is grabbing or it slides around so nicely on that plastic. It is so smooth. There's no squeaking or noise or anything. This is an acrylic yarn, just to be completely transparent. So I'm using an acrylic yarn on that plastic hook, and I like that length of deck. I don't usually, or I should say neck, I don't find I have I like to be a little closer to my work because I feel like I can control it with my hands closer together. So that's my baseline, that's what I'm comfortable with, and that's crocheting with a size 4 medium weight acrylic yarn and the Amour. Alright, I am going to try it now with the Prym. So same thing, same yarn, excuse me. I'm going to start with a little slip knot and do some chaining. Okay, I am much further away from my crochet, so that already is going to require me to get a little more used to it. I feel like my two hands are very far apart. It's a comfortable enough handle. I don't feel like I have to grip it tightly, which is nice and important for me. So it's nice that it sort of just sits in my hands comfortably, and I can see where. All right, let me get a few stitches in here. Oh, see, now this is something I like to control my yarn. So if I'm wrapping and I'm doing something that requires me to control the yarn wraps around my hook, I'm used to being able to reach my thumb forward, and it is so much further away. I kind of have to shift my whole hand up off of the grip to get there. So that's not terribly comfortable. And I feel like I'm just too far away. I prefer to grip the hook a little closer to the hook itself, which, to be fair, even when I'm using non-ergonomic hooks, I do the same thing. I tend to hold my stuff like about halfway up the hook. I feel as though I'm just too far away from the hook in order to really control my yarn or to do what I like to do with it. You don't sometimes notice the little things you do. See, I like to put my thumb on that loop. That helps me to control some of my tension, and I can really feel that stretch right down through here because I have to hold the hook so far back. So if I move my hand up to put it where I normally have it, which is basically here, then that grip really doesn't do anything for me. It's all the way back here, and I'm having to do more twisting with my baby finger. So if you can sort of see, I'm doing this with the hook, which isn't terribly comfortable. Now, nice smooth shaft. There's no seam that I can feel, or even really see for that matter. So it's a nice smooth plastic shaft. I don't hear any squeaking. It's an inline hook like my Clover. So you see that? They're both inline, which means the back is flat as opposed to being tapered. And I prefer using an inline hook, so that much feels normal. Or I should say familiar to me. But I think the neck on this hook is too long for me. The grip itself is pretty comfortable. I think if the neck was shorter, I'd feel pretty comfortable just sort of twisting this around. It does have this lovely little, there's a difference between the plastic that's on the grip and the plastic of the actual hook. Much like the Clover, this is sort of a soft, almost rubbery kind of plastic, but then the actual regular plastic of the hook is kind of runs down the length of both sides, so it creates like an interesting little grippy bit of texture. So that's actually quite nice and pleasant. And I can feel how that would be, I guess, depending on where you want to grip it, you know, that you can kind of feel where the hook is supposed to sit in your hand, depending on sort of based on the size of the hook itself. But I'm kind of missing my thumb deck, and I feel like the neck is just too long for me, because I tend to need to grip it a little bit closer to the hook itself. So the actual sort of like grip or lift, the ergonomic part, is too far back down the neck of the hook for me, I feel. I'd have to crochet with it a little bit longer, I think, to get used to it. There might be a bit of a learning curve there for me. But right away, when I go to pick up a hook, I'm guessing that you should want to hold the hook with the grip, not have the majority of the grip in your hand, like I tend to want to work. So you'll notice if I'm holding this hook, my Amour, my thumb is right here. It doesn't leave from that spot. I have control. I twist it with my thumb. That flat part gives me more strength in it, like to twist it back and forth. And look how, if I put the two hooks at the same place, look how far back my hand would be holding on to that grip. So like I said, that's a whole 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch. That is quite a size difference in where I'm used to gripping my hook, because I can take my thumb off the grip and put it on where my yarn would wrap over without moving the rest of my hand. But when I do that with this one, I actually have to shimmy up the length of the hook a little bit and then kind of shimmy back down again. Or I have to stretch my thumb, and I can feel that through there. That's not comfortable. So as pretty as this hook is, as smooth as this hook is, as nice as I like that kind of grip, there's no thumb deck. And I think the neck is too long for me. You know what? That's my initial impression of them both. Obviously, I love my Amour. I'm not so sure that I could make the quick trip or the quick change to using a Prym. I'm going to have to do a little more work with the Prym, maybe on something a bit bigger. Maybe I'll try it with longer stitches, you know, like the trebles, the double trebles, the triple trebles. When you've got more yarn wraps around your hook, that might be nice for the long neck of that. You've got a little more real estate to work with, as opposed to the shorter neck on the Clover Amour. So this might be a great hook if you're doing a lot of tall stitch work. So maybe I'll try a little bit of that down the road and see if that makes a difference for me. I don't usually find that to be a problem, but you know, a little bit of extra space is nice if you're doing really, really tall stitches. But getting used to that reach, or you know, being able to sort of manipulate the yarn with my hooking hand at the same time, that will take some getting used to, because that is already not comfortable. That's too much of a stretch for me, and I don't want to have to keep shimmying my hand up and down the shaft. So I guess I could say, if you find that this space on your current hooks is never long enough, a Prym might be a great choice for you. If you have ergonomic hooks and you've got a thumb deck and you don't like it, this does not have a thumb deck, so it might be a little more comfortable sitting in your hand. I'm not sure if that would make a difference if you were a pencil grip or not. I'm going to guess that my mother-in-law might not find that terribly comfortable. I think she likes the thumb deck too, just so she can rest her thumb flat on it. But I might let her borrow this and see what she thinks. So yeah, longer neck, that could be useful if you find that this is too short on your regular hooks. Maybe if you have a larger hand than me, that might be, a Prym hook might be better for you. Maybe the Prym hooks might be better suited to male hands. So if you have big hands or you're a guy and you've got like larger hands, you might find the Prym hook much more comfortable because there's just more real estate to hang on to. So I'm going to say that going into this, I wasn't really sure what I was going to think. I was kind of worried based on some of the things that I heard you said that this might be a little bit on the sticky or the squeaky side, but I didn't hear anything funny. It feels roughly the same as the same plastic on this other large Clover Amour hook, so I'm going to say the plastic's the same. I like the little bit of a point on the edge of that hook, makes it a little easier for getting into additional stitches. And the rubber plastic on both is nice, although I think I prefer the one on the Amour. It's just a little bit smoother. And of course, I love my thumb deck, so the Amour still wins it for me. So there you go, Clover versus Prym, or Prym versus Clover. For me, the Clover Amour still has it wrapped up. I just love that feel, but really it's the thumb deck that makes the biggest difference for me, and the length of the neck. I think this one's just a little too long for me. It's also a comfortable grip. I feel like I don't have to grip it tightly like I do some other hooks. I feel comfortable holding this one, and this one has a nice larger hook, or I should say a larger grip, so it's comfortable enough to hold. I don't feel like I have to grip it tightly. So if you have grip issues, you might find that the Prym is nice for that. Like I said, if you have bigger hands, you might find this more comfortable. And if you feel that the length of the neck on an ergonomic hook is just not ever long enough, you might really like the Prym for that. There's definitely a lot more space on here to hook up some loops or a whole bunch of stitches. You could even do some Tunisian work with that. That's that long. But for me, as far as comfort is concerned, I'm a knife grip. I'm not a pencil grip. It's the Clover Amour still. So I'm going to do a little extra work with the Prym. I'll, you know, if I have any realizations about it, especially with trying taller stitches, then I'll let you know. But for now, I got to stick with my Amours. If you've tried either or have both, I'd love to know what you think of these two and how they stand up together. Let me know in the comment section down below. And until then, we will we'll keep on hooking. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you soon here on the Jayda and Stitches Show. Till then, stay safe, stay crafty, and have a great week. Bye, guys.
Hi, everybody. Mr. and Stitches here. Thank you for watching today. Here are some of our other videos you might be interested in. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.